Today's weather, first of all, going to be going off with Hawaii here, with some tropical systems. We got, okay, let's look at the updates first. Lala right here. Let's look at the track. Hawaii might get hit by a hurricane. Just saying. Could get 16 to 20 inches of rain some parts, and the other islands may get closer to 4 to 8 inches of rain. Let's look at our wind speed. So basically 90 to 100% chance basically for the mainland of Hawaii, and then 50 through 80 for the other parts. Now, I don't think we have anything else. Didn't want to do that. I downgraded this with 30% chance because it's going to get some wind shear, so I don't expect these two to be named. Alright, let's look at our models here. We're gonna focus too much. There's a other tropical wave behind Invest 94 that we do need to watch. And this is Invest 94 right here, by the way. We don't need to pay attention to it. It's this right here. There's a low. And the GFS does not put much into it. Brings it down to maybe a 1009 at lowest. And it just wants it to die out. And we do have a Bermuda high that if it did strengthen, it could hit the US. But this is still like, basically like almost 2 weeks out. So there's not a lot of wind shear. It's kind of just dying because it does, honestly. Doesn't have a lot of dry air, like it's just dying because it wants to. I do have a tropical system off of Mexico, and we are gonna watch that, so let's do that. Let's look at our wind. Obviously we're gonna have high wind. Where's this system gonna go? Because it looks like it develops like right here, like around Wednesday, and it's consistent. So we do have this little hurricane system. It goes down all the way to a 930 low. This run had a little bit closer to land, but still, 930 low. There's another system right behind it that is consistent as well, and a third system. Wow, but none of these seem to impact land. So, just something to watch. So, alright, let's look at our euro. Let's see what it has. So, system moving off. Euro only brings it down to it puts it a little bit closer to land. It only brings it down to a 970 low though. California might get hit by a tropical storm. But it's not consistent, so I don't think California's actually gonna get like a 999 low. Let's check that real fast. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it's just one possibility. This is definitely not happening. It's like an outlier. It's pretty warm though. It's definitely above average. Yeah. It does support tropical development better, but still. So yeah. Could have impacts, but we don't think it does. Alright, let's look at North America. Let's look at our temperatures. We're gonna be hot across Alaska and the territories of Canada. Then it cools down. British Columbia gets below freezing. Yeah. Still gonna be warm for the US. Still gonna be in the 60s and 70s. Okay, let's look at our so severe weather tomorrow on the 15th. Low, New Jersey might have some good storms on the 16th. More severe weather on the 19th in the Midwest. And it stays kind of quiet. Got the little tropical system right there. Brings probably some flooding to California, but that's probably not happening. So that is kind of our forecast. This video might be a little bit shorter, but let's see what the CMC has, or the Canadian, sorry, on the system behind 94L. So keep in mind it's a 94L. It does agree on the second system, and the Canadian hints at a third system behind it that could get going, but there's probably gonna be a lot of wind shear. I don't think the slow, if it actually stays like that, the slow is probably not going to develop. If it's a little bit further south, yes, because it does look to clear up at the end. So if it gets tracked further south, because they do have a low right here that gets going, but I don't think it's going to be anything. And that Bermuda High, it's pretty west, so. The icon's not good at highlighting hurricanes. This only goes 120 hours. This is our, you can't even see 94. That's 94. There's our second system. Let's go back to our 12Z. Icon definitely does hint at it. Definitely tries to get a little bit of a low. Doesn't have the wind shear though. Alright, let's look at our climate. Let's see what we have for our climate update for the US. Okay, so November's gonna be cool for Texas and surrounding states. February's gonna be cooler. January's gonna be average for the south and warm for most. February's gonna be cold for most. March is gonna be even colder. April, May. Then we go into our La Nina. Might start having a drought in May. Definitely above average for the East Coast. Alright, what? So this is how, let's look at Lala, let's see what it has. Oh wait, no, I'm pressing the wrong arrow. So wind up in the mountains, right there. And it strengthens as it goes over sea. It's about to cross the prime meridian in the international date line. So probably, well, I do see Lala becoming a typhoon though. Oh, we got storms outside. Let's look at the HRRR actually, because we do have some storms, so we need to go check that. Georgia. Thanks for reminding me, storm. Yeah, we got some rain. And some storms across northern Florida. So let's look at our high temperatures for tomorrow. Let's see how hot we're gonna get. I think we're gonna have to go back more runs. We're gonna have to go back more runs. Let's see what our high tomorrow is gonna be. So hundreds everywhere. What about Sunday? Hundreds again, more hundreds across basically the entire South. Okay, now let's get into our spaghetti plots here. First, let's look at our Google DeepMind because I hate this model, but I choose to look at it because it's still. But even if the Google DeepMind agrees on these, so we gotta watch this third system behind 94. Let's not put anything. The Google DeepMind doesn't want it, but it wants one number, but oh, there we go. We get some numbers. But still, the Google DeepMind is kind of a horrible model, and it's an underlier and an outlier. Like, it just has some random systems forming in the Gulf and making landfall as a Cat 2 or Cat 1 in South Carolina. Like, that's not happening. And it kind of just does random things with the hurricane or with the system. I mean, How's it curving north? Let's look at our Bermuda high real fast. I haven't refreshed this in a couple days. So there is a chance it could steer some tropical development into the US, but the Google DeepMind's not the best models for that. It does have a system, but it's kind of consistent, but it's not. I don't trust this model because it's so random. Like, look, go from the 00Z to the 06Z. Even to the 12Z, there's so much more of an uptick. And even go to the 18Z, there's even more activity. You have a 939 low, like, that's definitely not gonna happen. Let's look at our GEFS. That's our 12Z, we're not gonna look at that because we're delivering the latest data. 18Z is still loading in, so we only have out like 10 days. But it does agree with that system. The high 94L, this is 94L. That's not really gonna turn into anything, it's gonna die out, most likely. I only wants 2 members, like kind of just going out very early. I want these to go north. And let's actually go back to the models here. I do want to see if there's a high around the 20. What day is that? The 23rd. Okay. Actually, we might need to zoom out the North Atlantic for this. So let's see if models agree on there being a high. I don't see a high here on GFS. You do have a high right here. That could be impacting. I think it's better if we look at the 500 anomaly. Looks like it does have a pathway. But overall, it looks like it's being blocked. So, and then this is going to block it even more. And it just stays further south. A little system going off there that's not affecting anybody. So yeah, let's look at our 500 millibars. Yeah, last one had like a major hurricane. Just GFS normal stuff. Probably another heat wave in Europe. Yeah, you do have that high right there that settles over. Does the Euro agree on the high though? Let's see what the Euro says about these geopotential heights. So you might have some cold air going into northwestern Quebec. Let's look at temperatures. Yeah, so you're going to be in the single digits for northern, but nobody's going to be there. Barely anybody lives there. Any snow on the way? I don't see any snow on the map. Let's go to a snowfall. No total snowfall. Okay, what we're looking, yeah, we're looking to see if there's a high. Got a little sidetracked, but there's just some extra weather stuff. It does agree on that high, and the Euro does put a high right here. And it kind of been consistent with it as well. And then it puts Bermuda highs right there. Let's look at our 500 high anomaly. So yeah, it has this little ridging right here. Let's look at our 500 millibar height for the US. So what do we have here? We're gonna be seeing any dark pink. That's what we do not want. It's just gonna be crimson red for most. Like if you're in the south, it's basically gonna be like that most. You might have some cold getting in. You got some 60s, low relief in the 70s. Big relief on the 28th, highs only in the 70s, all the way down Georgia. 70s are everywhere across the East Coast except Georgia and Florida. still having 90s. Alright. Let's look at the members more. They do want it going north, but they do also want it turning. Let me zoom in on this and see. And they do curve it north, but if one member tries to get through it all. I'll come back to this at the end of the video because it still has more hours to go through. 18Z is definitely uptrend. It still has, it's more disorganized, but it has paths. So yeah, let's look at our ECENS. Let's look at our, no, it doesn't have 18Z, so I guess we're going to do 12Z. Let's go up to like 120. So it has that system developer on the 21st. I want supposed to curve up around there. This could be another fish storm as well, but you do have those highs that could interfere. Okay, let's look at the Euro AI. Okay, so this is our, let's go up to like 132. We have members right there with the system. Definitely uptrended from 12Z. Let's zoom in right here and see what we have. Does agree on where it does go. Like I said, definitely uptrended from the 12Z. Sorry, more members, but less intensity. You see like a lot of members trying to get in right here. With this system, definitely uptrended from the 12Z and the 06Z, and I think the 06Z downtrended from the 00Z. So it wants us to take a northern turn. Let's see what we have here. But we do have a few members that try to get more west as well. It's not the state shouldn't be concerned about this. This isn't anything to watch yet, but let's compare this to the full 12Z. Uptrended from the 12Z a lot. Let's go back to our 18Z. It's just disorganized. It's just normal August tropical waves that do random things, but it does kind of have an agreement right here with a tropical wave. So this is where it's probably gonna go. So I feel like the National Hurricane Center is gonna highlight that soon. It's probably gonna take like 1 or 2 days for it to highlight though, so yeah. A little bit of a shorter video today. There's not really anything else to cover. We have to look at the halves B for Lala, but it just wants it to keep strengthening. And it could impact China. We don't know. We actually need to look at Eastern China. Okay, never mind. No, let's look at Eastern China. Where is that? It's right here. So is Lala gonna end up affecting Eastern China? There's Hawaii right there. And Alaska. Does Lala, it moves very slow. Oh yeah, it's because it's 3 hours. Okay, so it looks like it goes north and then it weakens. It reaches like a tropical depression to the islands of Alaska. But nothing. Yeah. Little system right here that gets Japan, but just wild storm. We don't need to watch that unless it shows consistency. That's it for the video by exactly 20 minutes.